love making, intimacy, romance, physical attraction, dating, and courtship. All of this is not coming from some novel or magazine, but this is coming from the Word of God. In fact, it's coming from Songs of Solomon, where the author of Songs of Solomon is Solomon, who is the wisest man. However, this dude has 700 wives and 300 concubines. This week, I'm going to be teaching a series on Songs of Solomon, since Friday is Valentines Day. And so this is Minister Trey from Keep the Fire Burning Marriage Ministry. And the first 4 parts, there are 4 parts in Songs of Solomon, 4 parts. 1 is the courtship and dating. 2 is the wedding day. 3 is the romance, hot, steamy romance. And 4 is what's called permanence and purity. And so Sons of Solomon is a very passionate book. It's a poem. It's filled with metaphors. And so it breaks it up into the different lovers talking. First, the friends are talking as well, but the lovers are talking. So the lover is the man. The beloved is the woman. Again, the lover is the man. The beloved is the woman. And so a little background, like I said before, Solomon is a man who wrote this. He has 700 wives and 300 concubines. And again, this is a poem. And so in the first chapter, this woman is, you could tell instantly, she is crazy and madly in love with this man. And instantly, he is crazy and madly in love with her. They are 2 peas in a pod, and they are equally yoked. Equally yoked. And so in chapter 1, when it says, in verse 4, it says, "Dark am I, yet lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem, dark like the tents of Kedar, like the tent curtains of Solomon. Do not stare at me because I am dark, because I am darkened by the sun." So she is black and she's beautiful. She's black and she's beautiful. She looks at herself as lovely, as beautiful. She doesn't need him to say that she's beautiful. She knows she is beautiful. And she goes on to talk about her family, goes on to talk about her brothers and how she had to take care of them. Also, she neglected her own body. She neglected her body, but she still looked at herself as beautiful. She, in fact, in verse 7, it says, "Tell me, you whom I love, where you graze your flock and where you rest your sheep at midday. Why should I be like a veiled woman beside the flocks of your friends?" So she wants to know where her man is. She wants to know where he works and all of that. And she looks at him as a shepherd, someone who takes care of sheep, someone who takes care of those and is a cultivator. 2 things that men are. We are shepherds and we're cultivators. Shepherds and cultivators. We take care of the ones under our care, ones who we're responsible over. And she looks at herself. She's not ashamed of who she is. She says, why should I be like a veiled woman beside the flocks of your friends? Why should I be like a prostitute? That's what she's saying. In fact, in Genesis 38:14 and 15, it talks about a veiled woman, a woman who covers herself up. She's like a prostitute, ashamed of who she is. This woman is saying she's not ashamed. She's letting the world know where she's going to be and who her lover is. And so also in chapter 1, in verse 8, it says the beloved is instructed. So the beloved instructed to learn where the lover is by joining the shepherds in the fields. All right, so in verse 12 it says, while the king was at his table, my perfume spread its fragrance. My lover is to me a sachet of myrrh resting between my breasts. My lover is to me a cluster of henna blossoms from the vineyards of En-Gedi. So they haven't had sex yet. This is just the dating and courtship. She's just longing for him and his smell to be in her breast or next to her breast. That's what she's really saying. And so she's also in chapter 2 saying, I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. She is looking at herself with high esteem. She's like, I'm one of the most beautiful women. I have high standards. She looks at herself as having class, right? And in verse 4 of chapter 2, she says, he has taken me to the banquet hall, and his banner over me is love. Strengthen me with the raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. The love that he shares with her is overwhelming. So overwhelming that she gets weak in the knees. Remember that SWV song? I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly, She is weak in the knees. And so she's also saying that he refreshes her. He refreshes her. That's also another thing too. But one thing that she says repeatedly is, daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and by the does of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. That means don't try to manufacture love. Don't try to be desperate for love. It came naturally. Don't be desperate for it. All right. So that is chapter 2. And look at how he responds to her. This ain't just one-sided. It says, listen, my lover, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. My lover is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. Look, he is just as infatuated and as crazy as in love with her as she is with him. Remember, equally yoked. And so we go on. It talks about in chapter 2. Also, it talks about that he is like an apricot tree, and she delights to be in his shade. No matter how difficult her circumstances are, she trusts that with him, there is rest and refreshment. So they not just, the Bible doesn't talk about them bickering and arguing and going at each other's neck, but this shows that their hearts were like knitted together. They were in love with each other. And so she found rest in him. And he looked at her like, man, like she's just the most amazing woman as well. In chapter 3, it says, all night long on my bed, I looked for the one my heart loves. I looked for him, but did not find him. I will get up now and go about the city. So she's searching for this man. She is sprung, as we used to say back in the day. Through its streets and squares, I will search for the one my heart loves. So I looked for him, but did not find him. The watchmen found me as they made their rounds in the city. Have you seen the one my heart loves? Scarcely had I passed them When I found the one my heart loves, I held him and would not let him go till I had brought him to my mother's house, to the room of the one who conceived me. So she was holding on tight to this man, but she knew she had a good man, and he knew he had a good woman as well. Tomorrow, stay tuned as we talk about the wedding day. This is good. This is good stuff.
It ain't been perfect,